Hello, in this lecture we will try to create a database backup. So a backup is basically a very simple file that represents your database. So to create a backup you need to right click on your database and then you look for tasks. You look for tasks, and as you can see you have many of them. You have stretch, you have encrypt columns, you have ship transaction logs, you have many of them. But what we are looking for is backup. And also you have restore, which is the way you would actually restore the database from a backup. So let's go to backup, and you can back up to several places. You can back up to several places. You can do disk or you can do URL. So you add some certain URL. As you can see, you can have Azure storage containers, which might be quite useful if you want to pay that money. If you don't, you can do some other, you can have some other ways to do it. But I would recommend to, definitely put those backups somewhere else. So somewhere else meaning other server, other storage unit rather than your HDD on your server on which you run the actual database, because obviously if that's gonna be hacked, your backups won't do you much good. So you also have backup type. You have full, differential, and transaction log. So we won't get into that. You need either full or differential. You can read about that, but I would recommend to always do full. And then you have test database 1, which is our database. If you had some other ones, you would choose some other ones if you needed them. And so let's get back to the disk. And I do have my default directory. So in that directory I will get my .bak file. That is the backup file. So as you can see, it's quite easy to do so far, at least. You also have media options, which is kind of interesting, kind of not interesting. You have backup to the existing media set. So you can actually append the existing backup set, or you can overwrite all existing sets. So again, this depends a lot on your structure, on your infrastructure, on your architecture. It depends on many things. So one just kind of updates the old backup, which obviously will take a lot less time and a lot less resources, but in some cases it might be useful to actually overwrite everything. And then you can check media name for expiration and all that. And then you can do backup to a new media set and erase all existing backup sets. So again, if you're gonna do overwrite, I would suggest just doing a new set and then erasing all of the previous ones, instead of just doing the overwrite all existing ones. And then you have verify backup when finished, which is actually quite important, so I will check that. It's good to verify backups because you have to trust those backups. You can't just know for sure if it has been backed up properly. So you need to know that. And you can do perform checksum, we won't get into that. And you have continue on error, which obviously is a very, very bad idea. If you have an error, you gotta stop. You gotta stop and see what's wrong. And then you have backup options. You can have descriptions, and also you can set expiration days. So say it will expire after 3 days, and this would be useful if you set a job, an always running kind of job automatic backup system, which we will actually do now. And if you say set backup for every, let's say 2 days, you could actually expire the existing one after those 2 days. Or you could keep several options and let's say do 10 days. So you have 5 different stages of your backup every time. And then you have set backup compression, which can be quite interesting. And you can have compressed backup and do not compress backup. Now this is quite obvious. If you compress, it will take more time to do the backup, but it will take up less space. So if you do have a lot of data, I suggest compressing it. If you do not have a lot of data, don't waste your server's time and resources. And then you also can encrypt that, but we won't get into that. You need some other stuff to do that. So just have your expiration 10 days, or you can do it on certain day of a month, and obviously you would then run a job on that certain day of a month that would create your backup. So let's do 10 days, and we will do a job which will update the backup, or rather back up the data every 2 days. So you can click OK now and it would back up, but you can actually go to script, and let's see, you can script action to file and you can script action to clipboard, which is the choice that we are going to take, because obviously it's a lot easier to copy it than to look for file in the directories and all that. So let's copy that, or rather we can actually script action to job, as you can see. So we can try to do that. Let's see what it gives us. So it gives us the name for the backup. It doesn't really do much stuff here, but as you can see, we already have the task, the step rather, and the step will or should contain all that code. So as you can see, the step does actually contain all the directories and variables and all that stuff that you need. So everything is really well automated. Now, one thing that isn't automated here is the retry attempts. Obviously, with the backups, you probably want some retrying. So let's say I want 1 attempt to retry just in case. And let's do every, let's say, 100 minutes. So if it will fail, it will try again after 100 minutes. And we can actually log to the table, but we won't do that. We'll just click OK. We'll be fine. And the important thing that we don't have done, we need the schedules. So let's go to new. And again, we said we are going to do it every 2 days. So we need daily and recurs every 2 days. And in this case, we are going to do occurs once at 12 a.m. Let's say it doesn't really matter when does it occur, although it might actually matter if you have some specific high loads for the server on certain times of the day, and on other times of the day you don't have anything, so you might back everything up on those idle times. But we have everything ready, so we just need the name actually. So let's do BCK shared backup schedule, and let's click OK. It should work perfectly. So it seems to be all quite successful, and as you can see here, the scripting was completed, so you can click cancel now. You don't need a backup right away. You just wait for 2 days and you should see your backup somewhere on your computer. Obviously, if you have your computer on, you will see it. If you won't have it on, you won't see it. And with that, we will conclude this lecture.